Welcome to Pound for Pound ATL, arguably the best place to get facts and opinions on your Atlanta Falcons. And absolutely the best place to get your opinions in. The guys are here, the chat is ready, and the conversation starts now.
What's going on, football fans? It's your boys back live again with another live rendition of the Pound for Pound summer edition, I guess you could say. It's me, J.R. Clark, joined by my main man, Mike Dubb. Hopefully we'll be joined by Toby D here soon. He's on his way from, maybe, is he here? No. Anyway, he's on his way home from work. Hopefully like I said, we'll catch him here in just a minute. But man, what's going on, Mike? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man, it's good to be here, man. Like I said, man, got a chance to have a little bit of vacation, a little bit of downtime. But, to be honest with you, even in my vacation, I got that notification to talk about old Kyle Pitts. I just want to make sure my eyes are not deceiving me, JR. A tight end signed like a 4-year, $32 million deal.
That's it.
So I got to ask the question, is Kyle Pitts, is he just like showing out in OTAs? Or is a rookie tight end really worth 4 years, $32 million? Could you care to expound on that for me a little bit, brother?
Well, as most of us know, like a few years back, not with this particular CBA, I don't think, but the one before, they set up a rookie wage scale, right? And that rookie wage scale, what that does is it sets up until it denotes who gets paid what by where you're picked, right? I think the last major name that got signed for a ridiculous amount was Bradford, right? Sam Bradford got signed for a ridiculous amount of money before he'd ever stepped foot on the field. But after that next CBA, they put together a rookie wage scale that tells you, oh, this guy, it's quarterback gets picked first of all, he's going to make this amount of money in his contract. So what then you have to negotiate is how much money you get at signing bonus, when you get what, is there some offset language if you go out and do something stupid, do we get to cut you and keep our money? Where a player is going to be if I go out and do something stupid, I want to keep all my money, So absolutely. That's that's where you get those hangups, and that's why some of those guys don't sign. Some of those guys aren't even signed now. I think one or two of the quarterbacks still aren't signed as of yet. They probably will be before training camp. They like to get those things done before camp starts, so that you have those guarantees in place. But nonetheless, as far as Kyle Pitts is concerned, it looks as big and crazy as it is because we've never had a tight end drafted this high.
Sure.
And you've never had a tight end, especially in this rookie wage scale, you've never had a tight end drafted in the top 5. Much less, I think the last one in the first round was Eric Ebron? Or was there one, or was the Detroit tight end? Was he in the first round, or was he a second rounder?
I think Hockenson may have been a second rounder.
I think he might have been a second rounder. But anyway, so, yeah. But as far as him showing out, everything that we have seen, he's definitely showing out in camp. Definitely getting on the, same page with Matt Ryan. And then you throw in the tight end U stuff, which speaks volumes because, he was one of the few rookies tight ends that got invited, so he's definitely a high profile rookie tight end, obviously. But, you've seen clips coming out with him talking with Greg Olsen, him talking with Travis Kelce, and that right there tells me at least he is willing, at least at this junction, willing to be coached up, whether it's by coaches or, his peers. I don't think that you're going to go to a tight end, summit for press purposes and not get called out for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
right. And I think what stood out to me is that Kyle Pitts was singled out a lot, even at tight end U for a rookie, right? So it goes into this whole unicorn narrative, because
Exactly.
Kyle Pitts comes with what comes with Kyle Pitts is the unicorn narrative. I think that's almost what he'll be gauged against. I think if he's a normal to average tight end, fans may not, they might want to run him out of town, because I think that, but it's not a bad thing, because I think that it reinforces that the expectations are so high for a tight end with such a ceiling, though. But I do think that the word from tight end U was that not only was he as advertised, he just looked to be just almost kind of just more fluid. And some would say, I wouldn't use the word a man against boys, but it's like, he's a guy that against veteran tight ends was able to really hold his own and just show that it's the reason why we're giving this guy 4 years, $32 million, because I think, the most interesting part about Kyle Pitts for me is that it really makes a lot of tight ends look around the league who are starting tight ends, and you say, well, wait a minute, this tight end is making $8 million a year. I think what it does is if Kyle Pitts comes in and is as advertised, it immediately resets the tight end market. And what you'll see is the tight ends will be the guys who continue to get paid. Because one of the articles I saw today, Greg Olson's, Uh-oh.
Oh, I think I lost Mike there for a second. Let's see here. Mike, you there? Let's see what's going on. It wouldn't be a pound for pound show without some kind of mishap, huh? Let me try to get him back on here. Y'all bear with me for a second. No, I think what he was talking about, what he was saying was oh, you there?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah.
No, you good.
Yes. So not sure where it cut off at, but no.
I think you were starting to talk about Greg Olson, I think.
Yes. So just really quick, right back to Greg Olson. So Greg Olson talked about the tight end position, and when he was, what he was saying is that, they basically have to block like left tackles, right? And they basically have to run the same routes that a receiver does. So why not reset the market for the tight end position?
Right.
So this 4 years, $32 million contract on the surface might just look like a rookie getting signed. But again, it could give some additional tight ends leverage, down the line.
And also a good point that you bring up there with giving some tight ends some extra leverage. It also speaks to the reevaluation of the value of that position. You know what I'm saying? Like, because before that point, I think we got Toby joining us.
I'm dry.
No, it's all good, Toby. You do what you got to do. While you getting set up, I'm gonna read this tip from 92 Dirty Bird. He just tipped us $20, which we very much appreciate that. He said, "What's good, pound for pound?" He said, "I've been watching y'all's show, never caught you live till now. I'm from Americus, Georgia."
Oh, 229. Yes,
there you go. Living in Glen Burnie, Maryland now. I think Coach Smith will bring out the best in Pitts. Love y'all's show. Well, we very much appreciate you watching. We thank you for that. And he said he's up in Maryland now, so that's cool. But yeah, man, we appreciate you joining us there. And hold on, y'all.
Absolutely.
You have to give me a second. I got to resize everybody now. Like I said, it wouldn't be a pound for pound show if we didn't have something fun going on, right?
Hey, look, man, that's what Atlanta Falcons fans do. But you know what? We persevere and we don't stop.
That's it. That's the deal. Now we got everybody. Now Toby, to kind of catch you up on, I don't know if you were able to listen until you got here or whatever, but we were talking about kind of the money that Kyle Pitts signed for. The idea that, is it a market reset in a sense by signing, even though it's a rookie wage scale, but the fact that a rookie was drafted so high, is starting to maybe reset the value of what people view the tight ends at. Because Mike was speaking to the comments from Greg Olson saying, you got to block like a left tackle and then run routes like a wide receiver. So the market getting reset, is a good thing to his eyes. So any like early thoughts on that?
I mean, I'll say this much: 4th overall pick to get the money he got. I think it's going to pay off in the long run. And in case a lot of people didn't hear, there's still some things going on with the top quarterbacks that were drafted. They're not signed yet.
Right.
Yep. Due
I brought that up.
Some language, issues going on. And see, now just imagine, they're going to clearly make more money than what Kyle Pitts is about to make.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. The quarterbacks, obviously, because, the wage scale denotes that a quarterback, is more valuable and will make more money than a tight end. But the fact that an organization, and it just so happened to be our organization this time around, right. An organization decided that a tight end was worth taking, right. like bucking the trend and taking a tight end 4th overall. So that makes for an interesting thing going forward. Like, especially if Kyle Pitts pans out, right? Like everybody feels like he's gonna. Like, he pans out, and in 3-4 years, he could really reset the market.
Yeah,
like, he could continue to reset the market.
Absolutely. And I would go as far as to say that he might become the first tight end that's paid like a receiver. Then that's when things get crazy.
Right, yes. How
you going to pay the guy?
If you say, okay, I'm going to throw out an insane scenario that I might do something deeper later on, but this is just an insane scenario. Say the 2 tight end thing really takes off and Hayden Hurst and Kyle Pitts become an absolute force. And say you're able to sign Hayden Hurst for a cheaper deal or a cheap deal. Okay, I'm using air quotes when I say cheap. So say you sign him to a cheap deal, and then you're really focusing your offense around 2 tight ends. So now Calvin Ridley's sitting there going, hey, I'd like to get, let me get paid, right? Maybe they don't. Maybe because the offense is flowing through 2 tight ends, maybe they don't, with the eye looking forward to potentially paying a Kyle Pitts a ridiculous number. Now, I'm not saying that that's what they're going to do, but I could see a scenario where your offense is flowing through, the tight end position versus the wide receiver position, and you decide not to dump a ton of money, into that position group. So it would be an interesting scenario.
Absolutely. Well, JR, I'll just add one thing. I think it's an interesting scenario for Calvin Ridley because it's a contract year for Calvin Ridley. And it'll be interesting to see how we use Calvin Ridley because, Calvin Ridley, like I said, he's a monster on the deep. He's just a deep threat.
He's a monster all the way around.
All the way around. He runs every route in the route tree. But I do think this, watching Hayden Hurst and Kyle Pitts on the crossing route this year is going to be probably one of my most.
Oh boy, man. I'm giddy. I can't. Wait.
You know what I mean? Like, I think what would Calvin Ridley's potential be if Arthur Smith utilizes those guys in just the crossing route scenarios, the scenarios to get these guys open? Because, has the NFL really schemed for 2 lethal tight ends? I don't think so. It's never been that way.
Not since, the best I can recall. I did some light research on it, and I may go back and do more, but not since the Gronk Hernandez pairing. Have you seen 2 tight ends? I think it was in 2011. Gronk was over 11 or 1,300 yards, and Hernandez was knocking on the door of 1,000 yards. Absolutely. And that was from the tight end position, right? And so, I mean, I'm not saying that that's what's gonna happen, but man, if they really start flowing this offense through the tight ends, that could then end up bringing an interesting question on whether you dump $20 million a year into Ridley's pocket. So go ahead.
Let's go back to them crossing routes again because you don't got me excited. You don't got me all right. Because if you think about this for a minute, JR and Mike, think about this for a minute. You can run this same route, but with 3 different guys every time. Disguise the formations. You can run it with Hayden Hurst. You can run the deep crossing route with Kyle Pitts. You can run the deep crossing routes, which Ridley, let's be honest, has made a living in. Yep. Run deep crossing routes and shallow crosses, because all these guys can run those routes, and you could just run similar route tree the whole time, just disguise everything and be simple. Oh man, you don't got me excited now, man.
And also,
and the thing about it is, go ahead, Jay.
No, I was gonna say also bear in mind, like if you pull up a heat map of last season with Ryan Tannehill's throws and Matt Ryan's throws, their heat map is damn near identical as far as where they were most effective, and where they were most effective is, as is with most quarterbacks, in the middle of the field. So that's like,
well, and I cannot listen. This is in all caps when I say this. Hey, listen, and they need to be going. Listen, in all caps, I say this: tight ends are a quarterback best friend. Okay, and Janu Smith and Janu Smith and the other guy, no disrespect to them, they got paid as they should have gotten paid. But these are two freaks at the tight end position. Let's just call it what it is, right? Yep. And I think what we will learn about Hayden Hurst as well too is that we will utilize him better than the Ravens did in this situation as well, because you saw they leaned in heavy on Andrews and kind of forgot about Hayden Hurst, because Hayden Hurst has been through this before. A new guy comes in town and his targets go down and all that kind of stuff. But I do think Arthur Smith is smart enough to be able to use both of these guys situationally. So. And God, it's gonna be amazing.
We got another tip from Fall Start Falcon, tipped us $5. Says, I'm going to order a Dean Pease jersey, number 71. And he says Hawks in 6. We're gonna talk about them Hawks here in just a minute. We can't do them no disservice. But all right, let's our opening salvos out of the way. So let's go ahead and jump into chat a little bit. As I say, our crazy talk done got some people popping off.
Oh yeah, let's get fired up.
The Brigadier General says, we got a general in here. We salute. No, I'm just kidding. The Brigadier General says, let's go, baby. J-Dog says, what's up, Falcons Nation? Same thing with Kojak Nantucket. Says, what's up, Pound for Pound family? Jaive, I believe that's your beautiful wife, is waving at us there, Mike. So make sure you wave back. There you go. Wound Carter says, rise up, Pound for Pound family. Just want to ask to see if you guys will be doing a live stream for the first preseason game for observations. Always good to see the family as usual. We're going to have some things coming up. We're going to get into that here in a little bit, because they've announced a live practice at Mercedes-Benz that I know I'm going to be attending, and I think some of our other guys are going to try to attend. And then we got the first preseason game against Tennessee. I'm definitely going to be attending there. So, yeah, we're going to do something. Like, I haven't exactly figured out what, but we're definitely going to do something as it gets closer to that. D. Sloan says, rise up, fellas. What's going on? Rise up. Let's see. Genuine Musin says, what's up? What's going on, buddy? Nijo says, Desai says, right, because if I'm not mistaken, Russell Wilson made less than $1 million in his rookie contract, but won the Super Bowl within that contract. Exactly. That's one of the things that was like such a talking point. Because he got drafted in the 3rd round, his contract was I said, pretty much already set, and it was small. So let's see what's going on. YMOF says, what's good, fellas? How y'all doing today? We're doing pretty good, buddy. Not too shabby here. Same thing. Archangel says, rise up. What's going on, Ark? Glad you're in here tonight.
Rise up.
Our buddy from north of the border, Adam Holloway, says, whoa, look at this good-looking group. Well, thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. We try to.
Yeah, thank you. You know, Adam, free poutine on me this week.
There it is.
You've done it. You've done it. Anyway.
King 7 says, I think we could go out. We could have got an O-lineman, still give them some crazy money. We always throw money away. Not saying Kyle Pitts doesn't deserve it. But if history shows us, we always give out a lot of money. Not a good thing always. Well, again, with that rookie pay scale, we didn't have much of a choice there. Like, that stuff's kind of already set in stone. But as Toby alluded to, what tends to hold things up is like languages, like offset stuff and things like that tend to hold things up. Let's see. Archangel says, look out for Frank Darby now that my friends should be an interesting take. I mean, look, I'll be interested to see what Frank Darby does in his rookie season.
Yeah.
Can he make some noise in preseason? He's got the energy now. Can he back it up? And that's something interesting there. Our guy Jimbo Slices says, "Miss my guys. Can't wait to be back." I know we can't wait for you to be back. You out here just loafing around, being on vacation out there in Fort Knox with your Army buddies. Vacation, right? Whatever.
Of course.
Glad it's you, not me. I'd have done died. But anyway, gonna keep right on rolling here. Then we're gonna get back into our topics. Adam says, "No, you need to have field stretchers. You can get another tight end. Ridley creates havoc. Having a boundary wide receiver that can vertically stresses you more than intermediate routes from Hurst." I agree. I'm not saying that I think they're going to get rid of Ridley. All I'm saying is that if your focus becomes on the tight ends and that's what you're running your offense through, you can, just like with a lot of other positions, you can find field stretchers in pretty much every draft. I'm not saying like any player is replaceable at a certain point, right? So if they feel like that money is better spent somewhere else, they could look to replace Calvin Ridley with a first or second round draft pick next year or the year after. Like, because you could envision they picked up his 5th year option, which is next year, and then if you say you want to franchise tag him for a year, so that's 2 more years, potentially after this season. So who knows? There could be it just could be interesting.
And that could be a real option because, people got to understand, Ridley was older when he got drafted.
Right.
He's not a young guy.
No, he wasn't a young.
He'll be probably hitting close to 29 when he is up for a new deal.
Right.
So that's something to think about.
Exactly. And by no means, again, just like with everybody else, just like with Jones, just like with Ryan, just like with everybody else, we are not advocating to replace these guys.
Right. No.
One of the only people we might be advocating to replace is Deidre Sanat. We'll advocate to replace, milk crate, or milk carton guy.
Man, you know what? And what's crazy is we have dedicated no time to Deidre Sanat
because he ain't deserved nothing.
I think out of every show we've done, probably 100 or so shows, we've probably spent 1 minute out of those combined talking about Deidre Sanat.
So that's how much he's played. He's played about a minute.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't.
But he'll get a shot to go into camp.
That's right.
And see what he could do early on, and if he can't hack it, I don't see him being there any longer.
No, I actually don't.
Dean Pease is not playing. I'm sorry, guys. I just one more thing to add.
Yeah.
Secretly, I don't know if you're watching some of these moves, but they're kind of shrewd a little bit because some of the guys I remember getting excited about Jeff Holland, and he got cut 2 days later.
Right.
So look, it looks like Dean Pease has something that he expects to see out of some guys, and if he doesn't see that, you know what? Sanat might have a shot. He hadn't got cut so far. So we'll monitor him. A lot of jobs to be had this year.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. King 7 says who Matt throws to will not matter if the O-line doesn't step up huge, and that's something we need to get into.
Very true.
Julio was a big deal for Matt, and getting open so quickly with a bad O-line. This year, it's about the O-line that's key, and you're right there for sure, King. The O-line, like we all know, Matt Ryan is obviously not a spring chicken anymore. He's not your standard cut mobile, scrambling quarterback anymore. He needs an O-line, flat out.
Yeah.
And this O-line is gonna have to come in and protect him to make this offense go. Period, point blank. Protect him and open up holes. They're going to have to, do their job.
Right.
I'll be really interested to see if they add to the O-line, as far as free agent is concerned, especially with Gano going down like he did. It doesn't sound like it's a season ending, but he definitely isn't going to be available for camp. So he isn't going to be available for preseason. But also that ends up making sense why Jalen Mayfield, who initially was listed as guard, was getting reps at right tackle because he's probably going to end up stepping in for that swing tackle position that Gano was going to fill at minimum. right? Because you figured at worst, Gano was going to be your swing tackle, right? At best, Gano was going to be your starting left guard, right? So he was going to have a prominent game day role every week. So now with him going down, that creates a void there. And that void, that might have opened up for, Mayfield to, start training as that swing tackle position while still fighting for the left guard.
Absolutely. Right. Now I'll say this. A lot of people don't believe in Josh Andrews, but I do. I actually think he fits the mold of what D-Led wants up front. He's got that nasty attitude that D-Led covets, and he can get off the fire. He can fire off the ball more quickly than what people think. But I know because he's not the high commodity, he doesn't have the success that you would want in your left guard over there for helping protect Matt Ryan. But I really think that Josh Andrews could pull it off, and he will be the guy going in to camp that you're going to have to beat if you want to spot.
That much is for sure.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. I think Josh Andrews is, you know what? This is the year where we need the Josh Andrews. We need those guys that are kind of underheralded to step up. Like I would, if we could get plus effort from Josh Andrews, from the Brandon Copelands of the world, I think that'll make us a competitive team. Because if we don't worry about the left guard, he can be a true 16-game starter. Not the best, because I don't think that we're going to get elite athleticism from Josh Andrews. But if he can at least be functional with a Mike Davis, because Mike Davis is one of the running back. He don't need much, right? Just give him a little bit so he can push through a little bit. I think that'll be the difference in us winning a couple football games, because that was the difference in us losing them last year for sure.
Now, I want to tell you, man, I think Arthur Smith is really excited about Cordero Patterson, man. He's been mentioning him multiple times when people have brought up, since you don't have a Derrick Henry, what are you going to do to possibly boost up this running back group more? And he keeps mentioning Cordero Patterson. They got a plan for this guy, and I mean, this guy is very versatile. I mean, you can put him out wide as a wide receiver. He can catch out the backfield, and he can run the football. And there's a lot of trickery you can do with him too, man, with jet sweeps and all of that stuff, and really disguise that stuff because of his versatility that he's going to bring. Possibly to the offense.
Because going back to Matt Ryan, not really having a guy that he can throw the ball to out of the backfield. Or, I always think it's always a mismatch when you have a running back that can run kind of like the out and in route, where they run kind of like 5 yards out and pivot inside, run that quick slant. Like those are things that can open up the middle of the field, right? So if we can find new ways to score, because we need new ways to score, because let's be honest, I think with Julio Jones in the offense the last, X amount of years, it's been Julio, let's see who else is open, maybe Ridley. Almost at a high level, almost dinking and dunking to the highest level. So I think for this offense to really be explosive, we got to find new ways, though, because we know that Matt Ryan can score points, but can we do it with screens? Can we do it with tight ends on the crossing route? Can we do it? We haven't really seen, though, on the seam routes, tight ends scoring up the seam, things like that. Those are some of the things I kind of want to see for this upcoming season. Oh yeah,
no doubt. Like it is it's going to be an interesting. This season is going to be interesting in the sense of, like, how does Arthur Smith deploy his offense? Like how much of, how much of what you saw in Tennessee was a product of the roster, was a product of what have you? Like, how much adjustment can he make? They had a lot of, a lot of tight end a lot of O-line injuries. Like Adam was just bringing that up in chat there. Had a lot of O-line injuries up in Tennessee. So did that dictate the 2 and 3 tight end sets? So we're going to see, we truly are going to see how adaptable Arthur Smith is. And I think what I feel like is that he's an adaptable coach. So we're going to really see it this year for sure.
I think he's true to the tight ends. I don't think that's changing. And I talked about this briefly on the last video I did. He's got that Joe Gibbs vibe. I mean, you watch Joe Gibbs at the beginning of his career, the coach, the Washington football team, formerly known as Washington Redskins. He wasn't using 2 tight end sets at first. He wasn't even running the ball. They were throwing the ball all over the yard, getting a lot of pass yards. But what he realized, They weren't winning games. They were 0-5. And then he went to the 2 tight end sets and started running the heck out the ball. And voila. I mean, you got 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. And I think Arthur Smith is going to stay true to that tight end ordeal. So I just don't see that part changing, especially with what you have now. And then you talking about moving Kyle Pitts all over the place.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, they're definitely showing the willingness to use, Kyle Pitts' versatility. Arthur Smith, like his offense up in Tennessee was predicated. I say predicated. It seemed to me to be predicated on yards after the catch, getting guys, getting guys open, and really like doing some mismatching type stuff. It's really a mix of old school and new school with a guy like Derrick Henry. With a guy like Derrick Henry, you had like clock chewing drives, like just wearing people out, wearing that defense out, making them continuing to tackle. And continue to make those business decisions, and then eventually tend to be towards the third and fourth quarter. Like then Derrick Henry would really start going to work and busting open holes because guys were just tired of bringing him down. But that's an example of a coach using what he has, right? And making and so if you take that down here, no, he doesn't have a Derrick Henry, but if you're making guys defend sideline to sideline and constantly, going all out to cover, tight ends and to cover those crossing routes, that can end up having similar effects to where you're spreading them out, and then all of a sudden, here comes a Mike Davis, here comes a Cordell Patterson, here comes a Quadre Olison, kind of deal. So it's going to be interesting to see like how they get it all working.
So you bring up a great point, because the one thing I know is to beat these Atlanta Falcons, your defense, the defenses that we play, they're gonna have to be able to hit, because with Mike Davis, even having to tackle tight ends as a problem, listen, you better have some thumpers that can get these guys down to the ground, because last I checked, Kyle Pitts is 250, Hayden Hurst 260, you got Mike Davis coming down here, so it's a lot more of a thump. Just because Julio Jones has left his offense, it's a lie. Hey, you got to bring it every week to beat this team. So I think, like I said, if this offense is able to find new ways to score and in the red zone, especially convert those to 7 and 3s, then again, man, maybe I'd like to think that what my Atlanta Hawks are doing right now might rub over to these Atlanta Falcons. That might be another discussion for another day. But
It very well could. I mean, I'm hoping it is too. I'm just curious to see how Arthur Smith and this coaching staff from defensive, offense, and special team utilizes what they have to get the most out of what they have and be creative with what they have. That's what I'm interested in, especially week 1.
Oh yeah. Definitely for sure. I'm very interested to see what they have. I want to jump back into chat here for just a second. Folks are commenting on Chris Jameson says Sanat is comeback player of the year in an alternate universe. You got to be a player to be a comeback player.
That's a good one, Chris.
Yes. He said it would be amazing if Sanat heard y'all. This is Archangel says it'd be amazing if Sanat heard y'all dogging him and got coached up and inspired to be the first of the team in sack leaders. That would be amazing. I don't see it happening.
Like, freeze that coming. If that happens and that's what it takes, that's what it takes. We should have done this. We should have done this years ago. What are we doing now? Why now?
I try not to dog players. And I'm not necessarily trying to dog Sanat, but he is definitely at this junction a waste of a 3rd round pick. I hate to say it like that, but
listen, what we're saying is we're not dogging Sanat. He's just in the dog house though.
That's
so
it.
We're not dogging him, but
right. Boy. Vlad joined us, and he says, "How's it going, everybody? We're glad you're here, Vlad." King says, "This is King J1118 says, yeah, I'm not sure Sanat's making it. I think Bullard is his replacement. Could be wrong though. Yeah, I think there's too many guys on this roster that can do what Sanat does. If he doesn't show up and show out, he's gonna be shown the door. Hell, but yeah. So keeping on rolling here." Let's see. Fred Butt says, I think the Falcons will be will be like the Hawks and have a deep playoff run. Coaching matters. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. Look, hey, the Hawks made that switch and to Nate McMillan, and he's been doing the fan. Why ain't he been named coach yet? Why can't we just take the interim tag off him? I mean,
I'm sure that's a numbers thing. I'm sure it's just like the quarterbacks. I'm sure it's got to be something in the
be
verbiage.
Like some language type deal.
We cannot let him leave the city of Atlanta. That's for doggone sure. But
he's done.
But you know what? You know what? I got to go back to that comment about the Hawks because I think that you know what. To be honest with you, coaching does matter. Which again, we made the video. I don't know how many months ago now, but we've been on that. Coaching matters, right? And I think the Falcons actually, if you look at it. They're kind of constructed a little bit like the Hawks. I mean, the Hawks are a lot of times they're so young that they don't even really understand how the gravity of some of the moment. They just come and ready. They're ready to fight as a result of the coach, right? I think that this team, if they're able to play disciplined football, you know what I mean? Like, who knows what the ceiling is for this team? Honestly, if the Falcons play disciplined football, like
if they come to the stadium, ready to play disciplined football. And with a solid, coaching game plan, I think it's going to be interesting to see how it transpires. Definitely. King 7 says, "Do you guys feel we should make a move on a good DB like Gilmore, or do you feel pretty confident in the secondary under Dean Pease because they have us labeled or ranked as worst in the league?" I'll tell you this: if they can swing a deal for a Gilmore or a Howard, like I don't think you're gonna get Xavier Howard just because of the money situation. He's already wanting a new contract with 3 or 4 years left on his current contract. So, but if you could swing a deal in a hypothetical world to end up getting a Stephon Gilmore or a Xavier Howard to go along with AJ Terrell, I think that I think you got to do that, right? Like, right. I got nothing against Fabian Moreau, but if you can get, Gilmore or Howard, then yeah, you do that, right? So
yeah.
Let's see. All right, Tony Wright says, "What's up, Pound for Pound family? What's going on, Tony? Glad you're here tonight." ATL Faithful GA says, "What's up? What's going on?" He thinks Mike Dove's Hawks mentality will rub off on the Falcons. I hope so. I mean, something needs to rub off on the Falcons because right now they look smelly.
I'm sorry, coaching matters. Coaching matters, and I think that it takes a coach that has the right amount of smarts. I keep going back to that, right? Because I'm not here to wash out Dan Quinn again, but it's to be noted that to be able to put together a staff, it tells you a lot about the coach. I think, I look at Dan Quinn's staffs that he put together, the Richard Smith. So, some of those moves were a little bit concerning. Like if you look back at a lot of those coaches, a lot of them weren't really proven. But I just think that when you go to a guy that's proven like Dean Pease, that's attacking our weaknesses. Maybe I'm overconfident in this team right now, but I think that when I look at, how these players take the Dean Pease right now, especially like Deion Jones, guys like that, like he's bought in already. Mm-hmm. I just think that I'm telling you, this will be an overachieving team this year. Like I gotta harp on it.
I think some guys will. I think it will be an overachieving team in a sense because I mean you really can only go up, right? I mean,
right.
Last 3 seasons have been horrible, so you can really only go up. Ice Cream Man says, "What's up, family? They have ranked us 24th in the power rankings. That's fine. They can rank us 32nd in the power rankings. Power rankings don't mean nothing in the NFL. Like that's a college thing that they have tried to, bring to the NFL. But power rankings don't mean squat to me."
Absolutely.
Tony Wright says, "Players on the D line to watch that will help. All pro Grady Jarrett is he's talking about John Kaminsky and Marlon Davidson, Ogundeji, and Tyler Graham. Speaking of that, if y'all hadn't had a chance to go back and watch it, the one and only Adam Holloway, who's in our chat right now blowing it up, he joined me last week, and we did a video talking about the defensive line and how we think that that's going to shake out. If you haven't had a chance to watch that, it was you know, I held my own. I'll say it like that. You know, that Adam guy, I don't know if he knew what he was talking about. No, I'm just kidding. No, that was a good video, and if y'all get a chance, y'all should definitely go check that out. He's Adam saying that he would trade whoever he had to get Howard. The top 2-man press corner that would be in the scheme that needs a great man press corner. I don't know if I'd trade anybody, but if we can make it happen, sure. Yeah, I would definitely love to have Howard on the team. That would be amazing. Let's see. Woon Carter. Oh man, if I could give a strike or a whatever to a commenter, I would. Woon Carter is over here saying he's gonna make me say the name because I have to read the comment. So he's gonna make me say the name. It says, as long as it ain't Dirk Cutter mentality. LOL. I thought I was gonna get through a show without having to say his name, and then listen, Woon's over here just making me say.
Oh man.
Oh man. Now on a topic that isn't necessarily like how are we going to perform and whatnot, I wanted to get y'all's opinion and the chat's opinion. So it looks apparently like next year they're going to start letting the teams have an alternate helmet. Do you think that the Falcons are going to just cement it and go with that red helmet?
I don't know, man. To me, can we just win first? That's
come on. I wanted to talk about something that was
no. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why. Because I bought in last year when we saw how cool the New Jerseys were last year. We were all enamored. We did a show on how nice and cool the New Jerseys were and how Todd Gurley looked in the New Jerseys.
That's right.
Remember that conversation?
Okay.
How Todd Gurley looked in the New Jersey and it looked shiny and it looked pretty. And we proceeded to go. What was our record? The first 7 games. We looked really pretty in losing. We were some pretty losers last year. My goodness.
Okay.
So
I thought I was gonna get some.
Okay. So look, I tell you this: if the red helmets can facilitate a pass rush, if that's where Okendeji turns into John Abraham, because when I see the red helmets, I think of John Abraham. I think I go way back. I think of Barcow. I just think of Grits Blitz. It's got to be something that is a rallying cry that's gonna get us. We're playing the Saints and we really need a smart or something. But in the words of Al Davis, just win, baby.
No doubt.
We got to get better.
That's it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, winning heals all. Winning is the healing salve. I was trying to get some,
it
slice
can be
of life kind
of. Listen.
Don't you said it could be
purple? The helmet can be purple, and if it helps us win, then I'll wear it.
So you're doing it, huh? I got you. Okay, all right. Fred Butts done tipped us $5. Thank you, Fred. We appreciate that. He said, I think this will be Matt Ryan's biggest season because he wants to prove he doesn't need Julio. That's always possible. You don't know in a sense what these guys use, to motivate themselves. I mean, just look at one. Tom Brady going down to Tampa Bay and doing what he did down there, and he was wanting to prove that it was him, not Belichick. So there ain't no telling him, right? On what that effect is going to be. But but hey, man, like you said, whatever it takes. I don't care if it's a purple helmet or I don't care if it's a need to prove that you can play without somebody. Then hey, whatever it takes. We kind of briefly touched on the free agent aspect, how the teams got some cap space as of now, since we've signed Kyle Pitts, got all the entire draft class is buttoned up. And Mike, you did a real good video. Was it end of last week, I believe, about some potential free agent options, and one of the guys that you brought up and spent some time on, and the chat is bringing up, which is why we're going to circle back around to it, is a Justin Houston. Now that was an interesting name, and that was a name that I was glad you brought up when you proposed this, the free agent video. And so, what about Justin Houston really intrigues you as far as him potentially bringing him here?
You know what? I think it's one of those ripple effect moves, right? Because I think what we need a player for the defense right now that can fill two roles. I think he's a player that his work ethic other players will buy into. First of all, like you bring a Justin Houston in house, that's a guy that's a rock solid. He understands what the NFL requires week in, week out. Right? He's one of those guys that I would say is infectious in that guys have already heard of him. You know, you know what you're getting with Justin Houston, and you pretty much know that like he's going to be the guy to set the tone. Because the one thing I would say that we're missing right now from a defensive standpoint is I don't think Dante Fowler is capable of setting the tone consistently. Now, I do think Dante Fowler can set the edge if he's not relied on to be the guy, the main guy. Because again, the way Dante Fowler went missing last year was not a result of injury. That was just a result of effort, mentality, just whatever it was. But it was probably one of the worst seasons of his career. Justin Houston, I think, gives us the nastiness and edge to be competitive every game. You know, to be honest with you, I'm not here to say that he's a defense changer, but he does make it easier on the secondary. You know, I think if we're not able to get a Xavier Howard, I would much prefer getting pressure on the quarterback with an established pass rusher, and it plays to the strength of our linebackers because the linebackers are our strength right now on this defense. So it's one of those versatile moves that I think could help us from a locker room standpoint, work ethic. He's good against the run, good against the pass, and he's from the state of Georgia. Played for the Georgia Bulldogs. So it's like those are guys that you can go to war with every week, and that's what we really need. You know, just I don't know. So bring Justin Houston. Justin Houston, if you're seeing this video,
come on in.
Atlanta Falcons.
Right? No, I think that he could have a Dwight Freeney effect on this team. You have some young pass rushers in Ogundeji. You have some guys who seem like they need some like motivation. I know it seems like we're talking about motivation a lot today, but you need some guys, like you need a guy who can get the best out of other guys. And I think you're right. I think that's one of the deficiencies that a Dante Fowler has, is that he, at least at this point in his career, hasn't shown to be that alpha guy amongst alpha guys.
Right. No.
Like, can he be an energy guy? Sure. But guys like Justin Houston, guys like Dwight Freeney, those guys demand excellence, right?
Right.
You know,
right. Period.
Those guys demand, like, it's almost like a Kobe Bryant effect. I'm not saying that, but I heard a quote talking about Kobe Bryant, like, oh, you know, everybody thought he was such an a-hole, but he saw how his other teammates practiced, and he saw the lack of practice that they put in, and so he just didn't trust them with the ball because they didn't put in as much work as he did, you know.
Right.
So that's a tone setter right there. And and right now on this D line outside of Grady Jarrett, I don't know who you have that's a real tone setter.
Absolutely.
So like
Absolutely.
bringing in a guy. Go ahead.
Well, and I think one more to that point about tone setting is that is something that I would say, having played the game, man, is when you got a guy that can make one play that changes the whole trajectory of a game. Like, he's a guy that can get an early sack to take the life out of a team. Those are the things that I think will play in our favor. Because here's the thing, like, you know, here's the simple math here. If we're able to slow down some of the other teams with better defense, the two tight ends, the run game will work more in our favor because we won't be having to throw the field because defense is doing the job. I guess so. You know, that's why I think he's one of the most critical guys that's still out there that we really need to try to make, you know, bring into the fold.
Well, I agree. Go ahead, Jill.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
You trying to say something earlier?
I was not. Go ahead.
Oh. I think you got to be like Tampa Bay. They've set the parameters for the type of team you build. And you got guys like Jason Pierre-Paul over there, and Dominic Sue over there. So if you can get guys that are, you know, they're not young, but they're still productive with their age, like a Justin Houston, and be able to attract them to come over here and kind of build something similar to what Tampa has done. And one thing that I noticed, Tampa had their mandatory OTAs the same week as the Falcons did a week earlier. So it's definitely, you got to look over there further down south and see what they're building over there and see if you can emulate it in some.
Yeah, I mean, it's a copycat league, like flat out. You know, I mean, a few years ago we were the trendsetters with that two back sets, or, you know, the two back rotation, where you had league, the rest of the teams around the league starting to copy what we were doing with Tevin
Right.
Coleman and Devontae Freeman. So yeah, I mean, it's a copycat league all the way around. Yeah, you got to look south and see what they're doing. And another name that popped up in chat was Olivier Vernon.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind seeing what like bringing him in. He's another solid defensive end. I think honestly, if we can come away with another defensive end or a solid offensive guard to compete, I think those two positions are positions that I'm still kind of looking at like, okay, what do we really have there?
Yeah.
Like we have some guys and we have some rookies. Right. And that doesn't necessarily fill me with a ton of confidence. I will say this is like you talk about like the battles that I'm looking forward to or the players that I'm looking forward to. For the first time in a while, I'm looking forward to the safety position because I feel like we actually got some good safeties or what could potentially be some good safeties, in Richie Grant and, solid safety play in Deron Harmon and, Eric Harris. Like, what do they bring you? What does Jalen Hawkins bring to the table? So for the first time in a while, I'm really like stoked about this safety group because, it's not a bunch of converted corners playing safety.
And here's the thing though. Here is one other guy that like we really hadn't talked a lot about that may be a free agent that we might want to watch is Steven Nelson too. He's a guy that actually, for those that really know this guy, like I said, he went to Oregon State, but he's actually from Georgia. He's from Warner Robins. So he might be a guy that, got some solid experience. I think, can come in and, be a good functional corner. I think if you sign a Steven Nelson, he immediately becomes a starting corner. But, I do think Fabian Moreau does need a little bit of competition because I think him falling off the train in Washington is a little bit concerning. So I would like to see him and Sheffield battle it out because, I wish old Jimbo Slice was here to talk about Sheffield today, but I don't think that we can quite write Sheffield off just yet. He's a battler. He's got a good pedigree. Now, is he consistent? No, but he was a guy as well. If we're going to give Dante Fowler a pass, which he doesn't deserve, we got to give Sheffield a pass because he was hurt. Because, he was.
Right.
He was hurt too. So, I mean, my thing is like competition. And JR, matter of fact, I think it's a good time to really go back to the question we talked about a little bit before the show is how did the battles in camp, how do they basically, what do you feel like that goes into the narrative of the type of team that it makes us become? So let's say, like you said, the Dahlman versus Hennessy battle,
right.
Zacchaeus versus Darby battle. Like, what does this do for us? Like these battles, this competition in these spots, like what does this do for us as a team once the smoke clears though? I don't know.
Right. And Ice Cream Man just put it out there. He says, our defense is in way better shape all around than last year. I think the secondary is in much better shape this year than it was last year. But these battles like that you're bringing up, the Dahlmans, Hennessy's, the Tyler Davidson, Bullard battles, and
John Atkins. Don't forget
John Atkins battle, Ogundeji and John Kaminsky's and Tayshawn Graham's. Like, where do these guys fit in? How does all this stuff shake out? Like, this is going to be a very exciting training camp. And like as I alluded to earlier, that the practice that they're going to have on August 7th down at the stadium, I believe we're going to be there. At least I know, like I said, I know for a fact that I will be there, and I believe Toby and Mike will be there.
I'm planning on being.
Yeah, we're planning on being there. So we hope to see y'all there, or if y'all see us walking around a stadium or whatnot, definitely say what's up. But these are the things that we're going to be looking for when we go down to the stadium. How does this defensive line shake out? How does how does this O-line shake out? As King mentioned earlier up in the comments, like if Matt Ryan's on his back, it don't matter who we got trying to run routes.
Absolutely.
It don't matter who we got running the ball if they can't open. What's up?
Yeah, that's true. I'm just curious when the pass get on. I mean, you heard Arthur Smith talking about that a lot. I think that's going to dictate us going out to certain places, depending on what they're looking like in the past, especially in the trenches.
Right.
You feel like we need another fire breather that can get to the quarterback, like a Justin Houston. I think that Justin Houston is a thing that could happen. I really do.
Right.
You can make something like that happen. Bringing a veteran like that on this team that is still productive at his age is going to really rub off on a lot of these young guys, especially Grady would definitely, I'm sure, love to have a guy like a Justin Houston along with a Dante Fowler. I think you can get Justin Houston. That's like huge right there.
Absolutely. I think that's why, right now free agency was one of those things that we knew would be weird. But, I think as we move on post Julio, I think we really get in a sense that we still have a chance to be competitive. Like, regardless of what the naysayers say, we still are in a position to be competitive. Because if Justin Houston comes, just look out. And with 17 games with an extra season, I think that might be better for pass rushers because that's that extra game. I'm telling you. So,
that extra game, that's going to be interesting this year. That 17th game, that's going to be odd to see, how that impacts folks, like what that even does to the preseason. That cuts down on that takes away that fourth preseason game. You're saying, JR, why do you care about the fourth preseason? Well, that was, the final chance for some of these guys like deeper on the roster to make, to make the team. And now they're going to have to, take into account, they're going to show up in camp even more, exactly. They're going to have to show up and make every rep, really count. So it's going to be a fun season all the way around. I'm really excited. We're about a month away from camp starting. Us here at Pound for Pound, we're in our summer schedule of like every other week live streams, but we're still trying to bring y'all content even on the off weeks. The next time we go live again, we'll should have a full house. At least we'll have Jimbo back from him, like I said, his vacation at Fort Knox. I'm gonna keep teasing him about that, and that's only because my best friend was in the Army Reserves as well, and I teased him. So now I get to tease Jimbo about it. But I'm glad Jimbo does what he does so that I don't have to. Because nobody wants to see me out on the field running it at nobody. So, but gentlemen, I think we have done it. Unless y'all got something else y'all want to cover, we've hit about an hour. Dude, it's on it. I didn't think like coming in tonight, I didn't think we were going to have a ton to talk about. And here we've done it yet again. Talked another hour about these, about these Falcons.
These measly birds.
That's right. I'm going to run through this chat one more time before everybody starts hopping off. Adam Holloway says he struggles with the idea of bringing in somebody like a Justin Houston because he wants to see guys like JTM and Ogundeji and seeing what they got, which I agree there. There's a part of me that wants to see what these guys have. You need to know what you have in those guys because next year is a deep defensive line. Like I know some of y'all may not notice it, but Adam is absolutely blowing up this chat right now. He must be bored at the house. He's just coming off a vacation himself. So he must be bored sitting at the house with a million comments. So I'm stringing together a lot of his comments. So anyway, but we got a deep draft coming up next year with the defensive line. So you need to know what you got with the guys you got to know that if you need to spend more draft capital. So I'll be interested to see how that shakes out. The Ice Cream Man says, Deron Harmon is my closeout guy in the secondary. I'm going to be interested to see, like, he's played in a similar system. I think he was the signing that at the end of the day, he's that Justin Houston of the secondary kind of thing, that elder statesman that is going to like really help and bring that secondary along. So I'm real excited to see how he does. Let's see what else we got. Jay Black says, smash the like button, guys. Yes, if y'all could smash the like button, and if y'all could do all those fun things, share and like and all that good fun stuff. Wound Carter says, great content tonight, family. See you guys in 2 weeks. Can't wait till the season starts so we can get back to the regular program. That's right. That's right. And look, if we try to do this every week, right now, y'all would get absolutely bored of looking at us because there just ain't much going on. So, but anyway, as always, y'all can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Grimm1128, GRIMM1128. Mike?
Follow your boy Mike Dub, MIKE_DUB. Nick Bagnolo. Like, you know what? I always like your comments. You always come back, give us some like counter analysis to the stuff we say. I always love, man. So
That's
you know, Toby D, take these good people home, man.
What you got?
Hey, man, Toby D, 1991.
That's right. And for the folks who like the Patreon stuff, it's about the only thing I push and I pedal because I think there's potential there for some great content. But that is Patreon, pound for pound ATL. Look it up. You can get involved in a pound for pound only chat and access to content that isn't anywhere else. So anyway, as always, folks, rise up.
Rise up.